Appendix here, reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you today in Reykjavik, Iceland. I just left the Bilderberg conference in Dresden, Germany, and I flew to Iceland to do a story on the jailed bankers. However, the largest shooting in America's history has just taken place at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. So obviously this story takes precedent, so I'm today going to briefly give you my analysis of the situation. Of course, I'll be back home in Canada tomorrow and can delve more deeply into the facts, but today I just wanted to briefly give you my analysis as I see it. Now, first of all, let's look at the alleged shooter, Omar Mateen. An important note to make is that this man worked for a security firm, G4S. This is one of the world's largest security companies. But what you may not know is that G4S is currently engaged in a contract worth $234 million with the Department of Homeland Security. And this contract specifically deals with transporting illegal immigrants from country to country. That's right, this man was given a license within this company which deals directly with the Department of Homeland Security and the transportation of illegal immigrants. Not only that, but Omar Mateen was also interviewed by the FBI back in 2013 a number of times, and again in 2014. He was at one point on a terrorist watch list, but then was eventually removed and deemed not a threat. If this sounds familiar to you, you may remember the Boston bombing, where the Tsarnaev brothers were also interviewed by the FBI years before committing those attacks. Now, here we are, fast forward a few years to the Pulse nightclub, and it is alleged that the shooter began engaging in a shooting rampage, and it quickly turned into a standoff/hostage situation that lasted for 3 hours, which gave him the ability to murder 50 people and wound up to 53 others. I mean, that is a lot of ammunition for one man to be carrying around by himself. In fact, video has surfaced of some eyewitnesses claiming that this man does have help from the inside. We'll have links to that in the description. Now, other information has come out suggesting that the wife of the alleged shooter said he was on drugs, he was completely mentally ill, and of course this is all stemming from the man witnessing a couple of men kissing in front of his children, which allegedly enraged him to the point of carrying out these terrible, terrible attacks. Now, how does somebody get to this point? And he apparently is claiming allegiance to ISIS, which is now having the mainstream media and everyone else proclaim this to be an act of jihad, Islamic terrorism, which, if he is claiming to be ISIS, we have to ask the question, who are the Islamic jihadist extremists and who is ISIS? And the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, is ISIS is a creation of the West. It was armed, funded, trained by the Western banking elite families. That's who creates ISIS, and that's the reason for this, is to create destabilization in the Middle East, which they've done in Iraq and Libya, and they're currently doing in Syria, but also to do it right here at home. And let's not forget, when you are bombing countries in the Middle East, there is going to be blowback. There is going to be retaliation. So was this a radical Islamic jihadist? Was this ISIS, insiders carrying this out? The answer is, either way, both of these things were created by the American Western banking elites. So we have to consider the fact and remember always that ISIS is a creation of the West, and if you want to stop these types of attacks from happening, we have to get to the source, because these people are ruthless. We know they're going to be going for draconian solutions to this current problem. No doubt we're going to hear a lot about gun control, but we're also going to be losing our own civil liberties right here at home. That's what it's all about, folks. Destabilization in the Middle East and losing our freedoms right here at home. So, was this a false flag attack? You bet it was. The American government is responsible. The Western banking elites are responsible for setting up this organization and for creating all of this war in the Middle East, which now looks like it's resulting in blowback. Again, this is a creation of the West. We have to continue to expose that fact. Check the links in the description for the sources to this video, and stay tuned. We're going to be delving into this deeper when I get home into Canada. Until then, keep fighting the good fight, my friends.
Back and forth. Look at this. Let's go. Oh my God, they're all shooting back and forth. Let's go. Go this way. Let's go home. Oh my God.
They will let you out of the area.
You could still hear the boom, boom. It had to have been more than one person too, because it was just too continuous. It wasn't like, it's like you're at a gun range and all you hear is just boom, bang, bang.
He started shooting, and people were screaming, and then he stopped, and then he went back out, and we were, then he was doing shooting out there just as well. Then he came back in, and then he heard them on the, talking probably to the police department or texting, and he asked them, please do not text, and so they stopped, but then somebody started the texting back up again, and he said, didn't I say don't text? Give me all your phones. Who's in here? Are you guys black? And a couple of them said, yeah. He said that I don't have an issue with the blacks. So it looked like his purpose was to shoot white, presumably. So he did not bother them, did not try to finish the job of shooting in that stall. And then he got on the phone, I don't know if it was with the news or the police department, telling them that to stop, America needs to stop bombing ISIS.
So he was calling people on the phone?
Yeah, he called somebody on the phone.
And he was telling them stop bombing ISIS?
Stop bombing ISIS in Syria. So then after he had finished with that, he got mad, he hung up, because, they were asking for it, he catches mad. And then he called somebody else that he knew, and he mentioned that he was the fourth shooter, and there was three others, and he mentioned, I believe, a female name, and that was plain dead, or, because he's saying that she has a bombing vest, and he has one too. And then he said there were three snipers out there waiting for cops to come, so the snipers would shoot at the cops. He was busy fixing his rifle, or I don't know what he had, but he was busy fixing. I heard shells drop, shells dropping on the floor, and he was happy that he got it fixed, and he said, oh, I got plenty of bullets.
He said, I've got plenty of
extra bullets. And that was it. And then, when cops were getting closer or not, he started shooting in the stall, and I don't know if he was killing the ones in the back stall, and we were hearing all that, and then the cops was like, screaming, the cops, and then there was an explosion. First we heard a couple of explosions in the beginning. We thought whoever he talked about that had a vest, I thought other bombs were going off on the other side of the club. And since he was the fourth shooter, I was thinking he's going to be the last one to set off his vest, if he had a vest. I didn't see it. If he had a vest, he was going to set that off, and I thought my life was going to end there. And then there was another second explosion. It was another second explosion, and the cops bust a hole in the wall.
What did you see when you walked through that club?
No, I did not. They took me out of the hole in the wall.
And try to escape. And the area was very, very narrow. It was very hard to get through, but we kept on pushing and trying to get as many people as we could to safety. However, the gunshots started. A lot of people were trampled, and there was a guy there that was trying to prevent the door, hold the door closed so that we didn't exit. And he would.
Janelle?
So do you think he was working with somebody else?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was more than one person. Like I said, I heard two guns going at the same time. It was very, very, very crazy. Rapid fire is and then he'd change, put another ammunition, and then change, put another ammunition. So in a moment of desperation, we're all crawling on the floor trying to find a place to exit. And I looked to my right and I see that a lot of people are going through some curtains. So we started digging through the curtains and we finally see a door, and we try to actually leave the door. Probably 50 people trying to jump over each other and just exit the place. And there was a guy kind of holding the door, and the guy was holding the door, not letting us exit the hotel. And we're like, what's going on? He's like, no, you guys have to stay inside, stay inside. And as he's saying that, the shooter keeps getting closer and closer, and the sound of the bullets are getting closer and closer. So everyone starts to panic. People are getting trampled and stuff, and we're like, let us out, and out of nowhere all you hear and then I put two and two together, and I was like, this guy's trying to prevent us from leaving the club. Maybe they're working together.
Following up on what Chris is saying, Liz, play the sound of what he's talking about. Chris, it's exactly like
multiple shooters.
Yeah.
when I think about every one of those shots making contact.
Please come and get us. Please come and get us now. They're shooting. They're shooting.
Anybody that's outside was flooding is running.
They are shooting. They are shooting.
Phil Mudd, you're hearing these accounts. What's going through your mind as someone who used to work at the FBI?
You think it's antiseptic. It's not. I talked to a terrorist who almost died because he wanted to blow up a weapon, a car bomb. And he was sent to blow up that car bomb by ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And they didn't tell him he was going to go blow up the car bomb. When he detonated, the car caught fire. It didn't blow up. And I talked to him after he lost a lot of his skins, his hands, his feet. I have 10 nieces and nephews. We're talking about bump stocks. We're talking about legislation. A child of God is dead. Cannot we acknowledge in this country that we cannot accept this? I can't do it, Wolf. I'm sorry. We can't do it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get back to you, but you're obviously, this is so emotional. Unfortunately, it happens all too often, and as a result, people say we've got to learn some lessons. Unfortunately, lessons are never learned.
On this day,
Was in the club last night?
Yes, he was.
Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything. I've been here since 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been waiting. Waiting by the emergency room to see if anybody gets called in.
What is your son's full name?
My son is Christopher Leinenen.
Christopher Leinenen. What have the police been able to tell you?
Well, they said there's a lot of dead bodies in the club. That's a crime scene. They can't identify anybody.
Push it open and try to escape. And the area was very, very narrow. It was very hard to get through, but we kept on pushing and trying to get as many people as we could to safety. However, the gunshot started. A lot of people were trampled, and there was a guy there that was trying to prevent the door, hold the door closed so that we didn't exit. And he would.
Janelle? Wow.
To push it open and try to escape. And the area was very, very narrow. It was very hard to get through, but we kept on pushing and trying to get as many people as we could to safety. However, the gunshot started. A lot of people were trampled, and there was a guy there that was trying to prevent the door, hold the door closed so that we didn't exit. And he would.
Janelle?